In competitive games, any little advantage can make a huge difference. That's why many high-level players are always on the lookout for ways to get a leg up on the competition. Welcome back to Esports Driven, and today we'll be talking about the best settings that you can use to take a competitive advantage over your opponents. On most competitive games, pro players prefer playing with low graphics settings in order to maximize game stability, to have high and consistent FPS and a low latency. Valorant isn't the exception, and we recommend you play on low graphics settings. Also, make sure to enable multi-threaded rendering and disable vertical synchronization, as it will affect your game latency. We recommend you set your anti-aliasing to MSAA2X. You can play around your anisotropic filtering to whatever you want. It'll make your skins and other details look better without hurting the performances. 16X is better than 1X. We'll talk about the following modes later. On the General tab, set your display mode to full screen for the best performances. The in-game resolution is more of a personal preference, but we recommend having the native 1080 by 1920 resolution on. We will make a video on the difference between stretch and native in the future. The following settings will depend whether you have a laptop or a gaming PC. With a laptop, you might need to set values allowing you to save battery or to avoid overheat problems. On a gaming PC, this shouldn't be a problem, so it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters here is the max FPS always. You might be tempted to set it to the hertz rate of your monitor, but pro players tend to agree on leaving it disabled or to set it to 300 or 400 FPS. Even if your computer can't generate this many frames, it'll reduce your game to render latency. Finally, if you own an Nvidia graphics card, you need to turn this setting to on or on plus boost, as Nvidia claims that it will reduce your system latency by 33%. Turn it on if you have a mid graphics card, or turn it on plus boost if you have a recent one, an Nvidia 3060 for example. On laptops, be careful as the setting will higher your GPU power consumption. I will not go too far on PC optimization, but if you struggle with FPS on Valorant, you should disable any third-party application running in the background, such as Steam, Epic Games, or Blitz that can take CPU and RAM power for things you don't need when playing the game. Enabling FPS, ping, packet loss, or latency statistics in the stats lab can help you understand what is going on and alert you when having FPS or ping problems. Scroll around this tab and find some you find helpful. There's more than just FPS stability in the graphics settings. You can leave improved clarity off, but you should try to enable the experimental sharpening, as it can help you better identify the enemy hitbox at longer ranges. I personally have it on and don't plan on turning it off. Next up is Bloom. This one you have to enable, as it'll help you see the Sova arrows alongside making your skins look better. Distortion and cast shadows won't give you anything more, so just turn them off. When we talk about competitive advantage, we talk about the enemy's highlight color. You'll find it in the general settings. This is basically personal preference, but it can actually make a big difference. Some people prefer yellow, while others see the red color better. Purple can be interesting too, as it'll stand out from the background, where red and yellow can sometimes get lost in the map. Try them out and make your own choice. Alongside this setting goes your crosshair color. You obviously don't want to have a red crosshair on red enemies, it would make no sense. The same concept goes for your main agent. If you play Viper, I don't recommend you having a green crosshair, as it might get difficult to keep track of in your ultimate. If you play Cypher with a white crosshair without outlines, you might struggle too. You can obviously change this setting depending on the map you're playing. A blue crosshair on Icebox and a red crosshair on Bind can be problematic. You might prefer a color that contrasts well enough for you to react earlier and get an edge on your opponents. Scroll down to the other section and you'll find the Show Mature Content option. Having it on will allow you to enable corpses and blood. Having Show Corpses enabled can distract you and make it harder for Sage players to find the right ally to resurrect. I would recommend you turn it off. For blood, it really depends on your preference. Some players like it on, as it can help you figure out if you're hitting the enemy or not, while other players find it distracting and leave it disabled. With this turned on instead of blood, you will see fire particles. Finally, let me show you how to get a more vibrant game. Brighter colors are a go-to setting a lot of high players use. It makes the game more enjoyable while highlighting the abilities and the enemy outlines even more. Head over to your desktop and right-click, select the Nvidia control panel. If you have an AMD card, you can access it the same way. Then click on the Display tab, and on Adjust Desktop Color Settings, you'll be able to modify your digital vibrance. I recommend having it at around 80% when you play the game. This is the right balance between the standard and the oversaturated colors you get at 100%. Click the Apply button and close the window. And there you have it, the best graphic settings for a competitive advantage. If you like this type of guide, make sure to check out our comparison on the best stat trackers you can use for Valorant. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing and leaving a like. See you next time.